everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Today is our first Zoom event for 2023 National Signing Day. Thank you, Dr. Sutter, so much for agreeing to present. We really appreciate your support. And Lori from NNDS, thank you for coming here. My name is Mariana, and I'm the Director of Member Services at Nevada Dental Association. This is my first year, and I am very excited to be here and give you my 100% support and help. If you have any questions regarding the tripartite membership, please feel free to call me anytime at 775-772-6744, and I'll be more than happy to answer to all your questions. I would like to invite Lori to give a short introduction of herself because she will be your key person. Lori, take it away.
Hi, thank you, Mariana. So my name is Lori Benvin. I am the Executive Director of the Northern Nevada Dental Society. So congratulations to all you students on your upcoming walk across the stage, I believe is what they call it. And if you are coming to Northern Nevada, please look me up. I think Mariana can include some links to my website and to my phone number. I've been with the association for 21 years, so I am more than happy to help you get to know dentists in Northern Nevada and help guide you with any questions that you may have. So thank you very much for this opportunity and look forward to meeting any of you that are coming to Northern Nevada.
Thank you, Lori, so much. And
Sure.
Dr. Sutter, we have a great presenter today. Dr. Sutter will go ahead and talk his presentation. Dr. Sutter, please take it away.
Yes, ma'am. All righty. So let's talk about the signing day. So I'm Dr. Scott Sutter. I'm an endodontist up in Reno. I went to UOP for undergrad in dental school. I did a GPR in Minnesota, and then endo was at St. Louis University. I've been in Reno since 2014, and I've been involved with both the NDA and the ADA for the past few years. So I'm the chief delegate for the North and the ADA alternative delegate. A couple quick things. I do speak at St. Louis University. I'm a professor there. This does not represent any of the opinions of St. Louis University. And I am compensated by an endodontic company called Son Endo for consulting things. So everything here is nothing to do with them, but I do like to make sure I'm open with my disclosures. So I was at a meeting recently, and let me pull this out of the way so that we can see everybody. Cool. I was at a meeting last week, and one of the dentists in town was asking me about, my participation in the NDA, and they're like, "What has the ADA done for me recently?" And I said, "Well, Randy, let me tell you." And that's a really common question here, because a lot of the times when the ADA does things, it's for people at different levels in their career. And that's the point that I'm trying to get across, is that the ADA is going to support you right now while you're in dental school. They're going to support you when you're first starting off. They're going to support you when you finally buy that practice and take over, and they're going to support you when you're done. So most of the presentation tonight is going to be focused on what does the ADA, the NDA, and the component societies do for you at a local level, state level, and national level for you as a recent graduate and right now as a dental student. And a lot of this is going to be, I'm assuming that most of the population at UNLV is going to stay within Nevada, either in Vegas or Reno. I know a lot of you might go to other states, and the good news is we're in all 50 states, so it doesn't matter at the component society level, you will have support no matter where you go. So let's talk about some of the things that we've done at the state level. We have a fantastic lobbying group. They're called Tri-Strategies. We had hired them a few years ago, and they've done some really cool things for dentists in the state of Nevada that will make your lives a lot better. So as far as what we've done here, there's something called the dental loss ratio. It's a very fancy way of saying the insurance companies need to take the money that premiums give them and give them back to patients. So when the Affordable Care Act was passed back in the 2000s, part of that was they did this with medicine. There was a certain percentage of the amount of premiums that came in that the medical insurance companies had to spend for patients. And we don't have that in dentistry. And when you look at it, some of these insurance companies are only spending 20% of their premiums on actual care, and 80% of it goes to the administrative and to the shareholders. And so what we did is worked with the legislators, and thankfully, doesn't matter whether you're right, left, center, everybody hates insurance. And so we were able to get this really cool law passed where we are going to be updating the amount that we're shooting for about 80%. There's a big case in Massachusetts where they got 83% that came in, and that's what's kind of the inspiration for this. But what this means is that for your patients who are spending all this money on their premiums, a lot more of that is either going to go towards care or it's going to be a reimbursement for them. So that's going to make a difference. It doesn't matter what specialty you're going into, whether it's general, whether you're working, endodontist, whether it's oral surgeon, ortho, pedo, you're going to have to deal with insurance, even if you're fee for service. And if you have more of that money going back to your patients, it's a fantastic thing. So we're looking at, we're actually going to be going down in a few weeks to talk to the legislators to get a little bit more clarity on this, but there should be some more cool things coming out of it. So that's one really big thing that we have. The other one is something called peer review. So everyone hates the idea that the patient might be unhappy with the work that you give, but it doesn't matter how fantastic you are. Every single one of us has had a patient who's upset, and they have a couple different options. A lot of them end up going to the dental board and complaining. And once that happens, it gets really nasty. You have to involve your malpractice company. You have to report it whenever you're renewing your license, when you're renewing your credentialing. And there's a lot of issues with that. And so what we're going to try to push forward is to reinstate peer review as the first line of defense, so that if a patient isn't hurt, what's going to happen is instead of the dental board, taking on this sort of thing, the Nevada Dental Association is actually going to do that, where you're going to be able to present your case to your peers. The patient will be able to present their case to those dentists, and then they're going to actually give a ruling for you. This isn't you don't have to involve your malpractice. You don't have to, report it to it's not reported to state agencies. This is a really fantastic thing. I know none of you right now are probably thinking about, what's going to happen when a patient's upset and they want to, sue me. But this will happen to every single one of us. It doesn't matter how nice you are, how awesome you are. Some people are just going to be unhappy at what you do. And this is a fantastic member benefit that we're really excited to bring forward. So as far as the Nevada benefits, there are other things that we do. I think the best one for new members is the monthly CE meetings. These are really fun to go to because you get to learn the community and kind of learn who's in it, who's, the important ones. If you're a specialist, if you're going to go into specialty programs, no matter where you end up, sign up for these things. These are the doctors who are going to be referring to you. So it's a fantastic way to learn about your community. And if you're a general dentist who's starting off maybe in a corporate office or something where you're a big group practice and you want to eventually move into buying your own or trying to look for other options, I cannot count how many friends I've had who have found where they are now because of going to these meetings. They're absolutely awesome. They're not that expensive. The food's, it's fine. But the lectures are always awesome, and I really do enjoy the talks on the side with all of the local members. So let's talk about national advocacy, because that's one of the other really big benefits, is that the ADA has our back, and it doesn't matter whether you're a recent graduate or you're getting ready to retire. They're going to make sure that whatever they're pushing for is going to help you as a dentist. So on the national, there's a couple big things that are coming up for recent grads. Probably the biggest one here is they are trying to get the FTC to ban employers from imposing non-competes. So for those of you who have started the process of going through the contract negotiation and kind of figuring everything out, this is a really large hindrance to you leaving that organization and working elsewhere. The number of times my friends have had to, we're in Reno, and the number of times people have had to work in Carson or Truckee, I had to work in Sacramento, to get outside of a non-compete. They're pretty aggressive, and it's really tough for you to fight against a large corporation because they have the funds to go against you with lawyer fees that you don't really have. And so the ADA is working with a few other different organizations to completely ban non-competes nationwide. This would be a huge help in your flexibility and freedom to change jobs. So this is an absolutely huge one that we've done. Another one that we just got through, there was a law that was going through the Congress to mandate opioid training for all. If you wanted to get a DEA license, you had to go through 8 hours of opioid training, and including 3 hours of training on prescribing buprenorphine, which we don't give. And so the ADA was able to do a lot of work to actually talk to the legislators and say, hey, not only do we not give this, we get a lot of training in dental school, and we get a lot of training from our local societies. And so one of the cool things that they push through is this is a requirement for medical providers for physicians. If they want to get their DEA, they do have to go through that 8 hours of training. The ABA was able to put in a little thing on there that dentists are able to use the training they had in dental school to qualify for the hours required to get your DEA license, which means you guys don't have to go sit for some silly 4, 6, 8 hour, online CE that's mind-numbingly boring, and you can just go get your DEA. Because that's one of the big, unless you're an orthodontist, which don't get me wrong, I love my ortho friends, but they don't need a DEA. All the rest of us do. And being able to get that without having to have that awful hindrance is a huge thing. So these are just two small things that I have 4 pages that I can talk about, but this is 2 things that kind of directly impact you. So let's talk about some of the benefits of being an ADA member. So probably one of the biggest ones is what's called the ADAPT program, which is the ADA practice transitions. It is a free for you service that connects doctors who are trying to sell their practice with doctors who are trying to buy a practice. And what's nice about it is they don't take a commission or anything. They work to make sure that it's a fair deal for both the new student dentist as well as the owner doctor who's selling. And so if any of you are interested in selling or buying, or none of you are interested in selling, if any of you are interested in buying a practice or going through that process, this is a great place to start, because unlike other brokerages that charge commissions and fees, you're not going to have any of that with this. And a lot of those brokerages are hired by the owner doctors. So their goal is to make sure they get as much money as possible for the owner doctor and kind of make sure that you pay as much as possible. ABA doesn't have a stake in that game. Their goal is to make sure that it's fair for both parties. So really good way if you're interested in doing that. Another one, obviously, student loans is a huge issue. I came out with over $500,000. I'm sure many of you are in that same amount. And some of those rates are up at 8%. It's crazy high that we're paying way more for that than I pay for my car or my house. It's absolutely insane. And they do work with a company called Laurel Road that does student loan financing. This was actually the first way that I refinanced my loans back in 2015. I was able to get down to about 5%. If you look at the rates right now, they're actually pretty aggressive. 10 years are at that 5 to 6%. 5 years are actually down to that 4 to 6%, depending on what your credit score is. But that is actually lower than a lot of the prime rates right now, which is really impressive. And we get additional benefits and additional rate reductions as ADA members. So really nice way of doing that. Another big one that you guys are going to have to be doing is insurance credentialing. So when you sign up with an office, if you're going to accept insurance and be credentialed with those, you have to do these awful, just long pages and pages and pages of information. And they always ask you for the same stuff, but they always want you to write it out. And it's very frustrating. The cool thing is ADA actually works with a company that does it all for you. You enter it once and you just say, okay, we're going to Delta, we're going to MetLife, we're going to Blue Cross, and you can easily send off all your information and get credentialed just with one company. And this is also something that's free for you and a benefit as a member. So for those of you who are entering practices, especially those who are going into, say, a corporate dentist office where you're going to be with a lot of insurances, this is a nice way where you just have to fill out that information once and get it all said and done. And then the final thing on the insurance, we have a really nice option, which is called the third-party payer concierge, where you can call the ADA and have an insurance specialist reach out to you and help you go through the insurance denials, help with claims. What do we submit? Why aren't we getting paid for this? A lot of the times people just if you aren't aware of this, it just gets pushed under the rug and you just don't get paid for that, which is awful. And so this is another big ADA member benefit, especially for new doctors who don't have the experience dealing with insurances. That is absolutely fantastic. So a couple other things that will definitely help you guys out. There is a licensure help. And so you can go here. This is on the ADA website as well. And I want to shout out everyone on the call right now because all of them are fantastic resources. If you have any questions whatsoever, you could reach out to any of them. They know this stuff better than any of us. And they will be able to help figure out if you have a question, if you have a problem and you're like, hey, does the ADA help with it? These people are the ones who are going to help you have the answers for you. So one of the cool things they have is, okay, you're going to, maybe you're staying in Nevada, maybe you're going to Texas, you're going to Colorado, you're going to California, wherever it may be, each state, unfortunately, has different requirements for their clinical licensure, what they require. Do you need fingerprinting? Do you need to have letters of recommendation? All it may, depends on which state you go to. And so this is one of the cool things they do is you say what state you want to get licensed in, and the ADA actually has everything you need to have ready, what your CE is, what your requirement is. Are you going to get licensure by credentials? Can you get specialty licensure either to get your dental license, or is there a separate one? And so it makes what is a very confusing and governmental bureaucracy nightmare a lot clearer. So this doesn't matter who you are, all of you get your ADA membership free for the first year. Use this. You all have to go get your license. It is so helpful to get this information out there. And then for those of you who want to get involved, every component society is going to have a new dentist committee, and our goal is to make sure that that transition from dental school to being in practice is as seamless as possible. All of us have done it, and we know there's so many things outside of how do I do a crown? What do I do with that denture? What's that attachment called? To there's an MB2 to how do we deal with difficult patients? What do we do in these things? What do we do in difficult situations? And the new dentist committee is there to help. And so I wanted to go over a couple things for just Nevada, because that's where I believe most of you are going. If you have any questions about different component societies, if you're going to the Bay Area, if you're going to Austin, if you're going to Denver, wherever you may be going, we can get you that information. But every component society is going to have some event for new dentists to kind of welcome you into the fold. So in the Northern Nevada Dental Society, I know you guys graduate April, Mayish. A couple big things we have coming up. The House of Delegates, which is the big Nevada Dental Association meeting, is going to be in Lake Tahoe on June 24th. And we're going to probably do something up at Heavenly. Should be really, really cool. We're going to take the gondola up, have a lot of fun times. We're still working on the date, but if you're in Reno in August, we're going to be doing a tooth crawl to a bunch of different bars, get some food trucks. It'll be awesome. Big one is on the 17th. We have a welcome picnic where we go out and hang out at Bartley Ranch, have a food truck, and kids are welcome, families are welcome. It's a fun time to just hang out, meet everybody. We have a golf tournament that we do on September 15th. And then our first big general meeting where you can meet everybody, you get introduced, you get welcome to the community. That's going to be October 12th. The next one is for the Southern Nevada. I don't know why the V is capitalized. I do apologize for that. We have a really cool thing that's celebrating women in dentistry. That's going to be on September 23rd. October 23rd, we have the Southern Nevada Dental Society Gala, which everybody's dressed up and have a fun time at. And then their first meeting for the season will be in November, right before Thanksgiving, which is their big dinner meeting. So we want to welcome you guys to the community. Excited to have you all join. The future is definitely bright for dentistry. I'm really excited to see what y'all do. And that's pretty much it. Here's my contact information. Please feel free to reach out to me via email. That's my phone number. Go ahead and text me. If you guys have any questions on endo, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have as well. But really excited to have you guys here. And I'm excited to meet all of you guys in March when I come down to the actual signing event. So thank you.